How's it going, No Girlfriend Nation? Welcome back to the No Girlfriend Podcast. With you, as always, your host, the enigmatic Kris Barnes. To my right, the handsome, likable, my good bosom buddy, Spencer. Tell him, hey, Spence.
Hey, guys, what's up? Hope everyone's doing well.
And even better, some might say, on my left, the man, the mystery, the business giant, Ibrahim Hyder, founder of TruWood. How's it going, my pal?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show. I think that introduction was a bit overwhelming. I'm not a business giant. I am, I think,
man,
better
on,
than Spencer.
when you Warren Buffett, come on, man.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Spencer and I have known Eves for a long-ass time. Eves and I go back...
Eves is my nickname, by
the
way.
Sorry. Eves is what I call him sometimes. Yeah, we go back to, grade 3, back when Eves was, much shorter. But, now he's, towering all over us. And, physically... Well, not you.
Not physically.
You're, 7 feet tall. Well, that's different.
Emotionally towering over...
Yeah, pretty much emotionally.
Only Kris, basically.
Okay, relax.
I'm joking. I love you.
You can't pick on him this early, man. You
yeah,
just gotta
this is
give
true.
It,
Spencer, your time will come.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for it.
You also go back, man. We were all in the same grade 3 class back in the day.
Grade 3? I thought it was grade 5.
No, it was grade 3.
It was grade 3, yeah.
Back in Mrs. Beige's class. Shout out to Miss Beige back in...
She's dead.
Guarantee
she's dead.
She's not dead. She was not old.
I do want to say something. Shout out to Miss Beige because she is the person who gave me confidence very early when I was young. I remember one day she was like, Ebes, you know what? You're a smart cookie.
Really?
And I remember that to this day. So
really?
if you're listening,
Jeez.
You probably aren't, but I love you.
Wow. That life-changing, eh?
It was.
She was always just mean to me. I don't know if she's giving you, praise and stuff. That was just
racist.
Give me a hard time.
I was thinking that. I was going to say it, so I'm glad that you said it. Anyways, I think we want to jump in to our traditional segment of the new experience of the week. We are going to save Eves to the end to see, what crazy things he's been up to.
He has the best experience of the week, hands down.
But first, I am going to pass it off to Kris.
Okay, I went first last week. You go first.
Yeah, but I haven't
week.
thought of mine yet.
Okay, well, so my new experience of the week is that I learned how to put air in my tires. What are you laughing?
No, I was going to laugh because I was anticipating that it was going to be super boring.
Yeah.
But that's not that bad. That's very useful, and it's something that I hope that you would have known already. But...
Well, I only started driving a few months ago, so I had no idea. And now I realized my car is being all weird and shit. I was like, oh, I need to air my tires.
Wait, how did you know it was being weird?
It's been going really high up in the RPMs, and the tires look smaller than they used to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so I think that would do it.
Yeah.
So were there any colossal mistakes that you made while trying to put the air in your tires?
Well, earlier today, actually, trying to put some air in my tires, and then I was just standing there for 5 minutes trying to figure it out, just looking like a complete moron. People are driving around past me, they're honking, and they're calling me a complete douche from their cars.
That's bullshit.
This is actually just a huge metaphor for Kris's life.
Chill.
There's no
my
car
god,
here.
okay, you got the podcast, man, you're fired.
I'm kidding.
Alright, but yeah, so I've enlightened myself this week. I've grown as a person, and as a driver, and a pedestrian too. So how about yourself, Spence?
I went to my very first billiards club.
Billiards?
This week. Billiards. Oh god, already off to a shitty start here. I don't play pool very often. I'm actually pretty bad at it. But it was actually a cool place. It was downtown Toronto. It was just called Billiards.
Is there any difference between billiards and pool?
Yeah, one's you play by yourself, isn't it?
Well, no, I'm not in the billiards club, so
I thought pool and billiards were the same.
I wouldn't know.
No, there's
I thought they were the same thing.
No, maybe it is. Fuck.
I thought billiards if you were a fancy person, and pool if you're just some schlub.
Hey, you're not supposed to be asking questions like this, to test our knowledge, because then we just all look like fucking morons.
Billiards versus pool. I didn't know that was special knowledge.
Stop calling us out, dude.
It was fun, but I am kind of terrible at it.
Did you get any in the hole?
What a terribly corny joke.
I was just asking you a question.
I won the games I played.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay.
The lady I was with was not very good either. So we just kind of sucked together, which is...
So it was a date?
Yes, it was.
Nice.
Alright. Anyways, that's what I got up to.
Please say the podcast.
Please get off your fucking phone, Ebes, and answer what you've been up to this week. Mr. fucking Big Business. I gotta take a call, guys. Can I step out the room for a minute? Go ahead, Ebes. What have you been up to recently?
So I guess the interesting recent experience would be I just recently came back from Hawaii. It's
Ooh, Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, you knew I went, so I don't know why you made that sound. But anyways, but anyways, it was honestly the best trip of my life, and
Really?
yeah, it was, and the original reason I went there was we went there to film a commercial, for the company that I have, and it was. I went there with no expectations really because I saw it as a work trip, and it ended up being so much more than that. I think when you travel generally, it's just a very eye-opening experience to different cultures in the world. And we live in Canada, like me, Spencer, and Kris, and Canada is widely known as the country that is the most polite country. People come here, they're supposed to be the nicest people, and they're known worldwide as the nicest people. But Hawaii is the exception. It is by far the most welcoming and the nicest culture you could ever experience, in my opinion, based on what I've seen in the world.
The Americans are nicer than Canadians.
Not necessarily Americans. and you know what? Hawaiians are actually very against I wouldn't say against, but they keep their culture very distinct and separate from the mainland.
Right.
So
They like
how they call
outsiders. They like to preserve their culture.
Yeah, and
by limiting the intake of outsiders. I understand. I was going to ask you.
Okay.
No, okay. Question.
Okay.
I know.
That's a precursor. Foreshadowing.
But I actually was going to ask you, how does your trip to Hawaii? How does that compare to like the stereotypical like vacation to Hawaii? Like, did it definitely like meet your expectations of what?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I would like to start off with is I'm brown. So brown people typically when they're kids they never go on vacation. So I recently actually went on my first vacation like a year and a half ago, and I'm like 23 right now. So my experience with like traditional vacations is kind of limited. But if you're gonna go there, like if you're kind of like a young kid and you're looking for like a party experience, like the typical young guy party experience, don't go to Hawaii. It's literally only old white people.
Oh, really? Okay.
And like I had a good time. I kicked it nice with Charles and Johnny Boy. We were making barbecues and just talking. We were kicking it. I don't know, just some random white guys, some random old white guys. I wasn't even their names, but like if you're really into nature and scenery, the sites over there, they're one of the best in the world. I would say.
Poke?
I did. It was amazing.
Man, I heard poke is amazing.
So I went to the sushi restaurant in Hawaii, and over here, the fish we get is it's flown in. It's not 100% fresh. The sushi restaurant I went to, every morning they go out on their fishing boat and they catch the fish that they serve to the people later on that day.
That's sick.
It's amazing, and the fish was just the best fish I've had in my life, hands down. I'm not even a fan of fish, and over there that's all I ate.
Man, you're making me so hungry right now. Can we start the podcast on some sushi?
Yeah, soon.
Maybe after
the
podcast.
I think Eves wins this week.
I think I won. I grew as a person from my experience of the air and the tires.
Well, you're pretty sure you can grow as a person by going to Hawaii.
Yeah, a little less than I'd say. So yeah, Eve, segueing from your experiences in Hawaii, so I want to know more about what you've been doing lately, because well-known fact now, Eve's started his own business. It's called TruWood, selling wooden watches, like amazingly crafted wooden watches, and like, because I've known you for a long time. I remember back when like we were coming up, we were roommates back in second year. You wanted to like work at a huge finance company. Like I even remember earlier than that you wanted to go into investment banking, but like now you're working in this like small grassroots company, building up from yourself from scratch. Like definitely not the same kind of environment as working as an investment bank. So I want to know like, why did you want to go into this like whole new field, this whole new world, I might say, and why did you want to leave like the old stuff, finance, that kind of thing? Yeah,
so I guess to start off, you're right. When I was in university, when we were doing school together, I was super into finance. I would spend a lot of hours during the day just reading finance reports, reading books on how to invest properly, stuff like that. I was trying to get a job in investment banking, and like I was telling you guys before, it's people in university, I feel like they tend to define themselves as what they're going to do after university, or what they're trying to gear themselves or position themselves to do after university. So, for example, Kris, you did accounting, and I'm sure like a certain part of your identity is that, I'm going to do this accounting thing, right? And I think that goes for a lot, especially in finance. People tend to kind of have to define themselves as being the finance person. Otherwise, you can't really make it. it's tough to make it otherwise. So I felt like going throughout university, that's who I was. I was a finance guy, and I eventually, against the better judgment of the people hiring me, I got a job.
Yeah.
Because well, my marks were really bad. I had like a 73 average or something like
you
that.
had shit marks back in school.
I know, but so I kind of played the networking side and stuff like that more. So
the soft skills.
Exactly. So I ended up getting the job, and I had an investment. I got a full-time offer at the investment bank, and I did an internship. But I really realized that this is not the life I wanted. I wasn't able to hang out with my friends. I was working from 8 a.m. till 12 to 1 a.m. every single day. Didn't have one day off in 4 months, even on Christmas.
Wow.
And so it just wasn't the right experience. So right after, me and one of my other best friends, he was in the same program, and we said, you know what, let's try and start a business. So we tried to start 4 other different businesses before we started TruWood, and all of them failed. And
yeah, I remember you saying you wanted to go into underwear at one point.
Yes,
that
yeah.
kind of flopped.
I was sitting in the library putting up pictures of half-naked men with like bulges on their underwear. It was like, it looked very strange. So I've gone to the lengths to start businesses. So I eventually started TruWood after the first 4 failed, and we got the prototype made, and it seemed like there was a lot of interest for the product, and we put up the products on the website, and for the first 2 weeks we had no sales at all. And so we were preparing to shut down and try and start something else, but then an order came in. And the first order when you start a business is it's the most exhilarating. It's the best feeling ever, because it's like, you know what, it gives you a ray of hope. Yeah. It gives you a ray of hope after like 5 months of failure. It's really it was a huge pick me up, and the next order, the week after that we started getting like 4 or 5 a day. 5, 10, 15, and then at our peak in like, I don't know, maybe in December during like holiday season, we were doing about one day. I think we did 200 orders.
200 orders in one day.
It was crazy. Black Friday was absolutely nuts. We sold like 20K worth, so it was crazy. Yeah,
that's sick, man.
Yeah, so it's been a crazy experience. I've learned so much. But yeah, I don't know if you have any specific questions about it.
I just want to know, like, why did you think of wooden watches?
Sure. So I wasn't particularly interested in wooden watches generally beforehand. I saw the products and I thought they were fucking sick, and I thought other people might think they're sick as well. So I'm gonna try and sell these, and it was more just a trial and error process to see what people are interested in, as opposed to trying to just create something that I'm hoping people will like. It was more like, I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try something else. And it ended up being that wooden watches actually ended up selling.
So I'm curious, like, because the idea that, just kind of first order comes in, then starts to snowball. Like, do you know where, would you have like, country of origin where that order took place? Like, what kind of, has your company become like a very popular thing in a certain part of the world, or is it really just North America that's driving a lot of the sales?
So 50% of our orders come from the United States. It's by far the biggest market in the world. 15% from Canada, UK, Australia, Germany. Those are all big countries too. Generally, it's just the more affluent countries will tend to purchase more. But there's also random events that happen. For example, in January, we were just randomly, someone in Korea, they posted like a picture of our watch on a Korean watch forum. Yeah. And that day we just got $5,000 in sales from Koreans. Wow. The Koreans were flooding our site. They were coming by like the dozen, and they just came out of nowhere. So I think it all depends on, like, generally it's going to be the normal countries who are buying, but there's always like random events that happen that cause other markets to open up as well.
So here's another follow-up question I have then, because you did mention that you left like what your established field was in university to go and pursue this. This is kind of semi-unrelated, but like, it's obviously a riskier endeavor, right? Starting your own business. How does you probably have student debt, right, to worry about. So like, how does that how did you make that judgment in your head? Like, you have all this mounting student debt, and instead of staying with the job that's going to give you like the big bucks, you are going to take that risk. Like, did that weigh on your mind at all when you were making this decision?
And just to add on to that, I also want to say that, because you said that working in investment banking or in finance is giving you crazy hours, like 8 to 1, like every day. But I imagine starting a business for the first time, you're also going to be working some long hours to get everything established, set up your website, set up your vendors and your distributors. Like how did you manage all that time and everything?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll take Spencer's question first.
Mm-hmm.
So with respect to the like how I made the decision with respect to financial reasons, it was just purely a monetary decision. I near the end of when I was supposed to start my investment banking job, because I had the offer to start in September. And I told my boss, because we were good friends, and I told him I'd started this company, and he said, you know what, take your time. If you feel like this company is going to take off, obviously I don't expect you to work. And so I waited till the last possible moment, and it made the company was making a lot more money than I would have been making in investment banking. So it was more just an easy financial decision. Like I was able to easily support myself through the business.
Mm-hmm. You have a dog too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Kris, sorry, what was your question again?
Just about like you didn't want to work the crazy hours. You want to spend more time with your friends. That's why you kind of don't want to go into the whole investment banking finance field. But I guess there must have been some crazy hours. And
100%.
In the beginning. So
yeah,
like,
exactly.
How did you decide like, man, I want to stick with this. I don't want to like, it's bad here too. Maybe let's go back to what I originally had.
Yeah, you know what? So investment banking, let's say the worst hours I worked was like, I don't know, maybe like from 8 a.m. till like 5 a.m. The next day.
Dude.
Yeah, and then I had to get up the next morning at 8 a.m. again.
Yeah.
So like, you know what, it gets bad, but you're 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
Starting a business at the beginning is also a lot of work. And I think the difference is that when you're starting a business, you don't really realize it, because it's basically like your own baby. It's like you're married to the business. It's like your child at the same time. And
so you're married to it and it's your baby?
Yeah, it's a weird concept. so like, for example, when we were starting the business at the beginning, I would and my business partner as well. He was extremely dedicated guy. So shout outs to him, Bishoy Kella.
Bish.
Yeah, the big man. So we were both like, when we were starting it off, we would be getting up at like 2 a.m., 4 a.m. just randomly, just because our mind was so attuned to the business. It was like, if we heard an order come through, we would wake up to check it. And we'd be doing work at all times of the day. Like we would wake up at 9 a.m., we'd go to sleep at 3 a.m., and we'd just be working around the clock. At the beginning, it was pretty hectic, but you don't really realize it when it's your own business, because it's something you want to do. It's like you're just so passionate about it, you don't even notice the time go by.
It's labor of love, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that makes it a lot easier as well. Like if you're working long hours and you hate the job, then it's painful, right? But if you're loving the experience, right, and like you're crafting something that you're dedicated to, then I think it just makes it like worthwhile staying up for however long it takes to be successful. So I think I totally admire that. I think, like that's definitely something that I think a lot of people in our age group should like take a lesson from, because a lot of people are kind of in the position where they're playing it safe, or they don't know what to do with their lives, or they're just not very successful.
Yeah.
And I think the idea that you've been able to actually craft a successful business, like that's not an easy feat at all, right? No one should underestimate like how difficult that is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, no. When I heard, like,
Thank
honestly,
you. I appreciate it.
When I heard that you started a business, I was like, really? Like, is it like functioning? Like, is it good? and then it, like when I was hearing about it, I was like, holy shit, man! Like I'm jealous, right? Like, I wish that I had the same sort of drive to be able to achieve something of that magnitude.
Yeah.
So I'm very like thrilled that this is working out for you.
And look, I really appreciate the words, and that's very kind of you guys. At the same time, there's 100% merit to having that full-time job, because starting a business is not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
At times it could be the worst time for your business. Your sales could be, going down. Some business contract is not going the right way, and then someone is forcing you to eat broken glass. Like
literally?
Like it's figuratively.
There's some human rights.
Eat it up on the watch. Because like I ain't doing business. Fuck that shit. No. Yeah. So it can get, the emotional highs are really high, but then the next moment you can experience a very emotional low, and this can happen within the span of 5 minutes, and it can happen multiple times every single day. So there's definitely an emotional beating that's taken place, and once you've been in business for a while, you kind of get desensitized to like the negative stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still your baby, and it's still something you really care deeply about. So if something bad is happening to your business, it's literally like it's affecting you personally.
Mhm.
So when you have a full-time job, that's not really the case. Like once it hits 5
When you punch
p.m.
out, you're gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't personally value that, but I can see why people do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that people should be extremely jealous of me if because it's just what people want, right? People want different things, and I wanted to create something, and that's just what I did.
I think the important thing is that you're doing something that you're actually passionate about, and it's actually what you want to do, whether it be starting your own business or working for a corporation. As long as you're doing something that you're passionate about and you actually want to be where you are, that makes all the difference. Because if you're working in a corporation or even some other kind of random job and you don't care, you're not passionate about it, you just feel like another cog in the machine, just turning. You come at 9, you leave at 5, you get your paycheck and you get the fuck out. But
let me ask you, what do you guys feel about that life? Do you guys like it? Are there things that you don't like about it?
Actually, that's a good question, because I was just thinking that based on what you said about like people who like they punch out and then it's like it's not their concern.
Yeah.
I actually don't like that philosophy, and that is kind of like the field that I'm in. There's lots of times where I would take like initiative at work. People say, "Why are you doing this? Like, you're not on the clock right now," or whatever. Like, okay, but I'm helping somebody out, and like, there's a certain drive that I think you lose when you're just kind of on like a 9 to 5 schedule like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas opposed to if you're running a business like you are, right? You're always on. Like, you're always trying to see what you can do, what you can improve, how you can help, and how you can make something run better. So I respect people that do have that 9 to 5. They go in and they have a whole other life that they have to keep up with. But I do think it does strip away a part of you that is like your motivation and like your will to do a little better.
Definitely.
But no, I do hear your point as well, Eves.
Yeah.
And and myself, I work in a more classical like 9 to 5 or 9 to whenever, depending on like how busy we are when our deadlines are. And there are days where I'm just like, man, this is really slow for me right now. I'm not loving it as much as I used to. But then there are also days where I'm just like, man, I'm learning so much today. I've like helped somebody out. I've had a really good conversation with a client or with my team. Like, that's what I live for. It's like those days where it's like the highs in my existence, like learning things, talking to people, having great conversations. Just kind of like feel like I'm improving someone's life or day in some sort of way. So that's why I kind of like unbalance of the goods versus the bads. I know where I want to be eventually, so I know this kind of like helps me out to get to where I want to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, to you guys or anyone else listening, like if you guys do want to start a business and you have like some type of entrepreneurial bug or spirit within you, I would totally recommend it because like I would say I'm a pretty happy person, but right now even though I go through emotional ups and downs every single day because of this business, I'm the happiest I've ever been. This was
awesome.
this is by far the best decision of my life, and it's an adventure, right? I think life should be an adventure, and when you look back on your deathbed, it should be I did some fucking cool things. And it doesn't have to be starting a business, but if you do have that kind of entrepreneurial bug, I find it hard to believe that you will find that happiness somewhere else.
So what's the website that people can go on if they're interested in placing an order?
So thanks for the plug, Spencer.
No worries.
So it's www.mytruwood.com. So it's mytruwood.com.
That's it's cool. I'm missing the E.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy for squares.
Exactly.
We'll put the link in the description and everything as well. But yeah, man, that's really awesome, and like I'm glad that it's all working out.
I'm gonna buy a watch tonight.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I was gearing Kris towards purchasing it. He's been asking me for a free one for a long time, but
why exposing me on the pod?
But I was waiting for him to just buy it.
Oh my god! Okay,
I'm kidding. He gets a free one.
Score!
I'm gonna be honest. Like this is the first time I've seen any of these watches today, and like they actually do look very good. I'm not saying this just to boost Eves' ego here.
It's already pretty high, so I know he doesn't want to do that.
But no, I mean, like, it actually it looks like a very high quality product. So.
Thank you, sir. And if there's feedback, I would like that as well.
Like, what's this model we're calling?
So this is the TruWood Earth. It's actually a prototype right now. We have the current model of the TruWood Earth right now, but we've decided to make it slimmer. We've decided to kind of round up the edges, and we're using a different kind of marble in this wood in this watch now. This is our marble and wood watch line, by the way. It's like
I know you guys can't see it at all.
Yeah.
But I would recommend checking out.
It's really cool. You can take my word for it.
Yeah.
And I so to finish on that topic, there is we've gone through the business, but there's another side of you, right? You're a very opinionated person, just like myself and just like Kris is. And I think we would want to broach other topics with Eves. If you have anything in mind that you want to ask him out of the realm of his business, Kris, any other opinions on things? Because I know what I want to ask him.
How do you find time to just have a personal life, bro? Like meeting girls or like hanging out with your friends, walking your dog. Like, how do you manage that plus the business? I know you're got a really active personal life, so I want to see how you gotta fit it all in. Do you have a day planner, or you just got like an assistant?
Well, I don't know how you know about my active personal life. That's kind of creepy. No, I tell him things. But you know what? I'm still your, everyday guy. Like, I go to the gym, I play basketball, I hang out with my friends, I do things. It's, you just
a question like he's Kobe Bryant. Like, how do you the paparazzi must be all over you.
They must be, man.
But you know what? Honestly, it's probably easier for me to find time than for you guys because, for example, Kris, sometimes he may get shafted at work and because it's tax season. And he has to be up or audit season, and he has to be up 11 p.m.
Look at this guy.
He's a smart guy. He's earning a lot at a big accounting firm, so good for him. But you know what? Sometimes he's going to be up till 11 p.m. and he may not be able to find time. But I think it's easier when you're running a business because you kind of get the luxury of doing whatever the fuck you want to do, right?
Yeah.
You can answer one of your employees later, and you can deal with something whenever you want, right? You can completely create your own schedule.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so in terms of helping develop my personal life, I think it just makes it much easier, actually.
Oh, I'm jealous of that.
All right,
man.
well, because Kris is too much of a softie to ask the hard-hitting questions.
Okay, yeah, you go in.
I'm just gonna fucking ask because
fine.
you wanted to discuss this, and I want to fucking discuss this. What's your view on the fucking travel ban, the Donald Trump's travel ban? I want to change the subject. We talked about the business. I want to see your political views that
you're in the hot seat now.
So, it doesn't feel hot at all because I'll start off with that. And to give you guys some context, me and Spencer, we have been doing political debates with each other since we were very young. Well, I'd say in high school.
We agree more than we disagree. At least I would hope when we do discuss things.
Yeah, I think we agree more than we disagree for the sake of agreeing. But so my opinion on the travel ban is obviously
for it.
As Spencer knows, I'm against the travel ban. He may say part of that is because I'm brown and I'm Muslim.
Why did I say that? No, I wouldn't say
that.
Okay,
the obvious reason is that I'm brown and I'm Muslim. My parents are from Pakistan. I was born in Saudi Arabia, and although those countries weren't included on the travel ban list, it's very possible that they could have been. And for example, I went to Hawaii recently, and I potentially wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been able to if this travel ban had banned those countries. So, generally speaking, I think that it's not necessary. I think it's discriminatory to a certain degree, and that's why I'm against it.
All right. Well, I have to rebut that one because I do think that, first of all, you said discriminatory. How is it discriminatory, if you would want to elaborate?
Okay, so I guess the countries that are listed on the travel ban are obviously predominantly Muslim, right?
Yes.
So you can bring up a blanket argument that, you know what, it's because they have bad history with terrorist involvement in the past. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of people that aren't able to come into the country are just normal, hardworking Muslims. That's just a fact. That there's no way to dispute that fact. It's straight fact. And the other side of it is that there's already an extreme case to allow people from these countries to be able to immigrate properly with green cards. And because of this reason, it's I don't know how to explain it. It's I don't know. My mind's kind of going blank.
Well,
right now.
I just want to interject too.
My mind's fuming so hard. I'm looking at Spencer with his smug look, and I just
hey, I'm smug. I'm quiet. I'm waiting.
That's how I got into the Bella's Talk podcast. Blast, check it out.
Yeah. So if you have a green card, you should automatically be allowed to come into the United States. You've been through the process, unless there is obviously a reason that's been proven.
Yeah.
Why, or you've been given a reason why you shouldn't be allowed to enter. That's fine. But they shouldn't stop people for no reason.
If I may interject before you go off on your diatribe, Spencer, old buddy, that none of the 7 countries on the travel ban list have no actual direct relation to terrorist activities. Those are more from other countries in the Middle East and other parts of Asia.
What do you mean?
Like the ones listed on the travel ban, there's no
like Afghanistan.
Yeah, like Afghanistan's what's where the bigger issues from where the I can't think what the name is of terrorist groups right now, but
okay, let me give you a very good example.
Osama
Bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan for a very, very long time. So it's all and it's
right, it's add Pakistan to the travel ban list.
Yes,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why is it that certain countries are banned and certain countries
because
aren't?
the reason for that was because the countries that were on the travel ban was because they had already been passed
by
through
Obama.
Congress under the Obama administration as countries that harbor terrorists. So because he's passing an executive order for the travel ban, that's a lot more proper constitutionally to do because they had already been labeled through Congress under Obama as.
I find it funny that you say that because constitutionally it was rejected.
No, but it's
by
totally
a federal court judge.
No, not by the Ninth Circuit District Court, right? Which is. Court has
he's still a federal court judge. You don't need to
but 85% of those rulings have been overturned. It's one of the most overturned courts in the country, right? So that's not really a good argument. And all the experts say once it goes to the Supreme Court, it will.
I've read you read more on politics than I do, definitely. So,
but hang on,
but a lot of stuff I've been go ahead.
I just want to make that wasn't even the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was. 85%, I believe, of Muslim countries are not affected by the travel ban. So to say it's if it was discriminatory against all Muslims...
Do you know why? That's because that Muslims are probably... They're the second largest... They're the largest religious group now in the world. There's, I think, 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. So to use that as an argument, it doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
Because you can't ban 1.5 million Muslims. It's literally impossible.
You could have easily added every Muslim... majority country to the travel ban list. If it was a Muslim ban,
that's literally impossible. You're not going to ban. For example, you're not going to ban Turkey. It's not going to happen.
Okay, no, but that's not impossible. What I'm saying is that you can. If it was
by impossible, I mean it's in this world, it's not going to happen.
Okay, so then fine. Whether it's not going to happen or not, then it's not. So it's not a Muslim ban, right? It's not How is it discriminatory if it's allowing?
My definition of a Muslim ban would be if you banned countries that are very predominantly Muslim.
Okay, so he's only done some countries. There's 7 countries, whatever it is, right? So
yeah, but these 7 countries have been targeted, yes, and they're only
not Saudi Arabia is not on the list. Pakistan's not on the list.
Has ties to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I know that's obviously the case, right?
So obviously for
example, my question is, Pakistan is a very close ally to the United States. But Osama
stuff going on in that relationship, it's not. I just say it's a straight ally is kind of
It's a very strategitic ally.
Yes, there we go.
Pakistan has nuclear weapons. It's one of the only countries in the world that has nuclear weapons, or is said to have nuclear weapons, and it's a strategic ally for that reason, right? They're never gonna ban Muslims from those countries because of this reason.
But that's
even though Osama Bin Laden
Chris,
was hiding in Pakistan.
I want to talk too, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Chris.
I just want to say that I feel like it'd be completely infeasible to ban the entire all Muslim,
and he's
predominantly Muslim
nations.
He's
not doing that.
I know, but you're saying, to your point earlier, I'm saying that it would be completely infeasible for the U.S. because that'd be pretty much an act of war almost against all the Middle East if you were to ban a predominantly Muslim country. So, he wouldn't do that. Yeah, he wouldn't do that.
War
to ban every country.
That is
how is that an act in the Middle East?
Okay, no one has a right. It doesn't matter what your background is. No one has a right to enter a country that they're not.
That's true.
No, but if they do have green cards, they do.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I agree with that part. Right? If you have a green card, you've already passed a vetting process prior.
But they weren't being allowed in.
Well, then they were able to appeal to the court. No, but I agree the rollout was sloppy.
It wasn't.
I agree the rollout was
not necessarily sloppy. Let's for a second. Let's just look back and let's just not excuse the actions that the President of the United States does as sloppy. You are the President of the United States, so you're not allowed to be sloppy, right?
So, but I'm agreeing. Right, let's.
So you agree what he did? It wasn't sloppy. It was wrong. It was straight wrong to do that.
What was straight wrong?
To ban people with green cards.
Yeah, no,
it was wrong. It's not sloppy. Okay.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying because there was no that wasn't even thought through properly, in my opinion.
Why?
Right?
But if you're the president of the United States,
Yeah.
and you're making a ban on people of a certain group of people,
From certain countries
it makes it very obvious to me that you're kind of basing the ban based on religious belief, because you didn't even when you were implementing this in the first place, you even banned people with green cards. If you didn't, then you would have let them come in.
It wasn't that. There was great confusion amongst people with green cards.
Great confusion is a word that I've heard Donald Trump say very often.
What? I'm just saying it was.
What I'm saying is, it seems like you're spewing his exact words.
That's saying something. There was confusion. That's
great confusion.
There was great confusion with how this was implemented, right? Because people didn't understand who was affected by it, who wasn't. That's why so many people were detained and didn't know what the fuck to do. So I'm agreeing with you on that point. That's not what I'm trying to say. The green card fine, we could totally find common ground on that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that. Do you believe that the leader of any country at all has the right to say we're not going to allow people into the country?
Yeah,
they have a right to close their borders.
Of course they do, but I would say that you should do it based on the founding principles of that country. You shouldn't just not let people come in for the sake of not letting them come in.
The ban was only temporary, right?
Towards Muslims for how long? I don't know what the time period was.
They were going to add what they would consider a more proper vetting procedure, and then it was going to open up again. So it was,
and I think it's
4 months or something.
I think the vetting procedure already takes around 18 months, and it's the most rigorous in the world from what I've read online from various sources.
Right, but I mean,
how would adding more on top of 18 months, on top of what experts call the most rigorous vetting process, it just seems like it's just more something that's based on prejudice beliefs as opposed to actually implementing better vetting processes.
But I would also challenge the fact that there have been attacks in the United States, right, by people who have come from certain countries, right? Certain countries that are on the list, certain countries that are not on the list.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with. So I think that there is room to improve. And again, I don't. This is my forte is not I'm not a super hard patriot. I bleed blue and red, fuck the terrorists kind of conservative.
Not even American.
Yeah, exactly. But and so I think that there is kind of this hyperbole that goes around, there's a terrorist lurking around every corner. Yes, I do think it's exaggerated.
But I think that the stuff that a lot of the dialogue that Trump has supported during his campaign and even with the recent actions that he's taken actually helps to kind of bolster the belief that there is a terrorist around every corner.
Well, I think,
that's very dangerous.
There's been many people in the conservative movement all over the world where they've pushed that sort of narrative.
Yeah,
right? I would go further and I would agree with you. I
think it's not a whole culture of fear has been perpetrated in the U.S. since around 9/11 attacks. You started with George W. Bush. They've been saying, we gotta get these guys, we gotta strike them down, we're gonna attack the U.S. again, and it's gonna grow exponentially ever since then with each passing day. All the attacks around the world in European nations, attacks in the Middle East, attempted attacks here in North America. It just adds to that whole culture of fear, which makes people want to hole up in their houses and not go outside.
But I think also the whole culture of fear argument applies both ways. Every political organization paints somebody else as the person of fear. While Donald Trump may say that there are these terrorists lurking, right? The other side is let's fear Donald Trump, who's gonna, bring about a nuclear winter. Okay, everyone paints the opposition.
And I know Spencer says that with a smile on his face.
Says what?
You did. You said that with a smile on your face. I was watching Donald Trump nuclear winter.
Yeah, it's a farce. It is a total farce.
So what I'm saying is that for example, I literally have friends who have had members of their family die because of the actions of the U.S. military.
Drone strikes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And, so if you're living in one of these Middle Eastern countries, it is very much so that the United States government is a terrorist organization. It's all a matter of perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it really is, because if you have family that are being killed by the United States government, no matter how you look at it, you're going to end up seeing the United States as a bad person, a bad organization, and you're going to live in hatred of them. I would too. If the United States government bombed my house and all my family members died, I would
Obviously,
despise.
of course, like,
I would
totally
despise them, and I would view them as a terrorist organization too. So it's just a matter of perspective.
Okay.
I'm not like, and I'm not a fan, but I agree. I'm not a fan of American foreign policy at all. Like under Obama, under Bush, under Clinton, all the way back.
Well,
to Kennedy.
there's a lot of Obama foreign policy that I think was really good.
Well, I think that's now that's where I absolutely call fucking bullshit, Eves, because Obama. You're talking about like drone strikes.
No, I'm talking about the Iran deal specifically.
Okay, well, hang on. That's one aspect of it, right?
I think that was a big part of his foreign policy.
I would debate that, but regardless, Obama is the president that used more drone strikes than any other president in the history of America. Right. So that you're going to all of a sudden say, you know, you're going to get bombed and you're going to view America as the terrorist, and then back the president that has like the highest kill count based on those bombings. Yeah, I think that is very hypocritical.
I'm not. May I speak first? Yeah. Okay, all right. So, Brooke, to be fair, did Calvin Coolidge even have bombs at his disposal, Spencer? Who? Calvin Coolidge, president of the United States, like several years ago. What about?
No, but we're talking about like Bush and Obama since the war on terror. Since the war on terror, but you can even look at like Kennedy foreign policy. Like I'm not a fan of American foreign policy, but we're going to talk about like Bush.
If you're the president of the United States, you have a lot of things to take care of, right? So the reason I bring this up is because although you do have to manage whether you like the foreign policy that you've been handed over to you, you also have to handle that there's people in the United States that fear for their safety, right? And to a lot of people in the United States, it's very important that, you know, we have a military presence to other countries. So for Obama to make a decision, he said, you know what, we can either deploy a shit ton of troops or we can use drone strikes to kind of show that we're doing something. So.
But that's where I draw the line.
I don't like that either. But
you said he had a great foreign policy.
I didn't say he had a great foreign policy. I said there's aspects of his foreign policy that I really do like.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Which was the Iran deal specifically.
You like the Iran deal,
and I think that was massive
in context. So let's I
actually have. I followed it.
I followed it in the news, right? But it's such a massive agreement, and we didn't really know what was in it until like way late in the game. So and even to this day, right, we don't even know how it would play out. So and there's been tons of stuff. You don't know. You don't know at all how a country's going to cooperate under it's an agreement. You don't know if
they've left very little room for cooperation. It's very methodological.
I agree. There is little room for cooperation with the Iran deal. I agree with what you're saying. So that's not a good thing, right? I think
for Iran, like they've literally placed spies and cameras in every single nuclear facility to make sure that there's no all their scientists are kind of, you know, they're bugged. They keep very heavy eyes on you know, the nuclear scientists to make sure that there's absolutely no way that they could go from nuclear power plant to nuclear weapon.
Right. So
it's very scientific.
I agree, but that's what I'm talking about. Like the hypocrisy comes in because what America's essentially doing is getting involved in the domestic politics of another country for its own for their, you know, means of their own national security.
I honestly, I do agree to a certain extent that no more countries should have nuclear weapons. I don't think that more countries should be allowed to get nuclear weapons. So if a new country is in the process of developing nuclear weapons, I think the countries that do already have it should jump in and kind of moderate that process.
Okay, so but you find with America being the world.
Nope, I don't like it. But what choice do we have? But they do have to be good guys about it.
Okay, so but then I think that really comes down to more of just like a partisan issue. Then, like you're fine when it's Obama the one who's at the
no.
But when it's Trump, like then when you say Trump, like it switches.
No. The only thing I don't like is. For example, number one, Trump has not been in office for a very long time. So the only actions I'm judging him off based on right now are the big things he's done, the travel ban, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the topic at hand. So, I disagree with it completely because that's the biggest thing he's done so far in the news, right?
I'm just wondering, does it bother you, or how do you feel about the fact that like the travel ban has majority support in the country? Like it is a democracy. So under that,
so it definitely does bother me, and you know what I and a lot of people were really surprised about was how Trump won, not Spencer. He called it from the start, but a lot of people were against it, and they were very shocked when Trump won, and I think a big reason behind this was because we live in very isolated communities, and people generally live in isolated communities. So although every single person may be very against Trump, there's a lot of communities in the United States that think Hillary Clinton is not going to win at all. There's not a chance she's going to win because Trump is the greatest. There's a lot of isolated communities like that, and it does make me nervous, right? Because if I was to walk into one of these communities, and I have stories of friends who've walked into these communities and they've been treated harshly and badly, and there's a lot of kind of racial
undertones.
Yeah, racial undertones in these communities, and that's a lot of the platform that Trump tried to push. And that is why I'm unhappy about the fact that majority of people in the United States do share these beliefs, because they're wrong, I think.
I feel like the people who are like for it in the U.S., they're not seeing it in the rational light, like the way I think you're seeing it in the more like rationalist, makes logical sense. We have to keep our borders safe.
Yeah.
That. But a lot of people in the U.S. see it's like, yeah, keep the Arabs and the terrorists out, those fucking turban heads and that kind of shit. They want to keep those people out.
I totally agree.
Let me speak. Because they fear these people because of what they've seen on the news. They've seen 9/11, all these things that they've seen and heard from their news sources. So they think, yeah, let's keep these people out because they scare me.
Okay.
So that's why I'm for this ban.
I totally agree. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously hugely like bigoted elements in not just America, like in every country.
Yeah.
And not just towards Muslims, right? Towards all different types of people where they paint this straw man of like people, especially people who don't know Muslims. They just say like, oh, look at these backwards people. They're all like terrorist sympathizers. And I totally agree. There is an absolute truth to the fact there is an element of that in America, and I don't dispute that for a second at all.
The travel ban will make it worse because you said, and I know where you're going. A big reason is because people don't know a lot of Muslims, like everyday Muslim. They see what happens on TV and they kind of paint that straw man picture.
No,
but actions like this travel ban make it so that these communities will not ever experience these Muslims, these everyday Muslims, and they'll just keep having this irrational view of what Muslims actually are perpetrating.
No, so I agree that. Like if you're making a very like pro-immigration argument, and I totally hear that. But like what the point I was trying to make was the fact that you have one side that's what you described as like this bigoted side. Then you have the other side that's like they're so anti-Trump that like they take the furthest stance as like the max virtue. So for example, Donald Trump says we need harsher vetting. Then the opposition just says, well, we need no vetting at all, and we need to have open borders.
Yeah, that's not good. I don't agree with that.
But that's kind of been like...
Who says
that's
that,
the flip
though?
Of the open borders? That's a very...
vetting?
No, I think that like
People
libertarian argument is open borders, yeah. Maybe a background check.
But yeah, well...
So, right, but I'm
to
saying,
what extent as well? I don't think it's fair to write off as the open borders policy as you just let anyone in. That's not what it means.
I'm not saying you hold that view, right?
No, but I'm saying that's just not...
by many on the left. Right, so I wouldn't
say that to many. It should just be like open to just walk into countries.
From a government perspective, perspective, that would never happen.
Right, but for the people that are more
I think you're more just using that view as to paint libertarians in a certain way. Even if libertarians
believe in an open border,
if they came in, if let's say some libertarian party came into power or whatever,
okay,
it would be. Again, in this real world, it would be impossible to just have open borders where someone can just walk through. It's just impossible.
They have the EU. It is open borders.
Yeah, but they have a partnership with the European countries.
Yeah, okay, but it's still like an open border.
The EU is basically one big country. Let's not get that.
You have to already be in the EU to walk through the rest of the EU.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying, right? So don't pretend like it's a foul that couldn't happen, right? It could easily happen if a party came into power or a person came into power that wanted it.
Again, if it's a partnership between countries, then yeah, sure. Because for me, it's open borders for me because we're partners with the United States, right? Canada's partners with the United States.
Well, it's not. We don't have open borders with America.
Essentially, the same.
It's a lot more lax than what it would be in the southern areas of America. There's one point I want to make. Then you can rebut, and I think we're good. Like,
I want to speak after the final.
Yeah. What?
I want to speak finally. I'll be the closer.
Chris, fine.
I will close the door on the argument.
So I think
I am the one who knocks. Okay.
All right, Chris. I think. Sorry about that. So I think that there is like an element of truth to what you're saying, where there is like an element of the travel ban that people are like, xenophobic and bigoted and that stuff. But I think there is another side of the coin that just says like, hey, look, it's honestly nobody has a right to come to a country, right? Maybe for family reunification, you could easily make that moral argument, right? Or green cards if you've already passed the vetting process, I could definitely see that argument. but I don't think anyone has a right to enter a country if the majority wants to have a more closed off border. That's their right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine.
So can we find common ground at least on that?
Yeah, that's completely fine. So I'm completely for allowing a rigorous vetting process, but again, the current vetting process for the United States is the most rigorous one in the world. I think what the travel ban does is just kind of play into a narrative that Trump is trying to push, as opposed to actually doing something constructive towards making the borders safer. Doing something like this doesn't make it safer.
The wall's coming, Ebes. The wall is coming.
You know, I honestly, I believe that this travel ban doesn't make the United States any safer. It just plays into the dialogue that terrorist organizations will use. Look, you know, United States hates us, and this is literally propaganda that terrorist organizations use. You can't dispute that fact.
No,
and
but they use everything
and
as
actions,
propaganda.
He's finished.
and actions like this are the bread and butter that they use to recruit actual terrorists. So I think that it's actually going to end up doing more counterproductive harm.
All right, agree to disagree, Kris.
Okay, so I just want to say, like, I kind of sit in more of a middle, close to the Ebes' side.
Obviously,
I can kind of, I see, that's where we're sitting too. I see where you're coming from, because I do believe that, yes, every country has the right to close their borders, and I can see why the argument for promoting safety within the country, if you label these 7 nations as like more laden with terrorists or dangerous elements, so you just want to like prevent people from these dangerous elements from coming into the nation. So as we try to figure out a way to more rigorously vet them. But as Eves was saying earlier, yes, this isolates people from meeting more people of these different backgrounds. Because as like an American citizen, you see, hey, there's a Muslim ban, you're not really truly understanding the purpose behind it. You're seeing maybe these people are all dangerous, and you don't really get a chance to really meet these people, talk to them, and just like learn more about their situations, and learn about the people in general. And I think also, from another Ebes point, but yeah, people in the Middle East, people in like Yemen, in Somalia, and the other 5 nations of the 7, say, if there are terrorist groups, they'll be like, hey, look, the U.S., they don't want us there. They don't want our people in the country. They don't accept us. They don't want us there. So come close to our side, where we're also anti the West, and like kind of like it emboldens them to do more these radical acts in the future. So I feel like the whole like the way it was done was definitely a lot like poorly implemented, kind of sloppy. I would have wanted to see just like this thing way more thought out, not within the first like 10 weeks of his inauguration. So. But no, yeah, we'll all agree to disagree to agree again. So want to wrap this all up. Eves, thank you for your time. I'm glad to have you on the podcast,
thank you for having
man.
me on the show, guys. You know what? It's from an outsider's perspective, it's pretty cool that you guys are doing this. I think it's very tough for, even me to just get on speaker and start talking about my life. So huge credit to Spencer and Kris to be able to share their experiences. A lot of people just wouldn't have the courage to do that. So good for them.
Such kind words. Thank you,
thanks.
sir.
I'm blushing.
Got it.
Oh my god.
Well, I can't really tell because you're black.
You had to bring it there, didn't you? You had to bring it there. You turn all our audience against you in one statement. But yeah, Spencer, do you have anything to plug? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts? No. I live for these debates. Obviously, we're gonna find things to disagree with, find things to agree with. But I'm glad we have people that can articulate the different point of view, and that we can discuss these things in a mature manner without punches being thrown or cars being set on fire.
Just wait till the mic goes off.
But yeah, no. Honestly, we thoroughly enjoyed having you on, and we hope to
definitely
have you on
back
again in the future.
Thank you, guys.
Eves, anything you want to plug? Obviously.
Again, www.mytruwood.com. Hit us up. Let me know if you guys want anything. We're going to be giving out a coupon code for listeners of this show.
Actually?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, shit, Spencer!
100%. So just shoot us a message and we'll take care of you.
Oh my god, I am honestly honored, man. Okay, starting now today, we're called TruWood TV. That's the name of the podcast now. Called TruWood all the time. But yeah, so follow us on Twitter, No Girlfriend Pod. Like us on YouTube, No Girlfriend Podcast. Facebook, No Girlfriend Podcast. And iTunes. Rate, review, and subscribe to us. 5 stars only, please. 5 stars, please, people. And as always, stay single, stay hungry.